respected chief guest, Dr. Sudarshan, Executive Director, Center for Development of Advanced Computing, CDAC, Bangalore, Dr. Sharma, Director, IIIT Tiruchirappalli, faculty members from IIIT Tiruchirappalli, fellow engineers from Institution of Engineers Tiruchirappalli, and my dear students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. So it's indeed, I'm very extremely happy to welcome you all for participating in this online event. And this is the first time Institution of Engineers Tiruchirappalli Local Center and IIIT Tiruchirappalli is jointly organizing this event. So thanks to the director and the team from the Tiruchirappalli Local Center for accepted our request in organizing this event in association with Institution of Engineers Tiruchirappalli Local Center. And also, I extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, Dr. Sudarshan. So when we approached him, he immediately accepted our request to deliver the theme address. Thank you, sir, for immediately accepting our request, and welcome on behalf of the Institution of Engineers Tiruchirappalli Local Center as well as IIIT Tiruchirappalli. So just to give a brief of World Engineering Day, let me give that very brief. The World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development is celebrated on 4th March every year since 2020 as a UNESCO International Day of Celebration of Engineers and Engineering. World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development, an international day with coordinated celebrations across the world, is an opportunity to increase the profile of engineering. The day is also an opportunity to engage with government and industry to address the need for engineering capacity and the quality of engineers around the world and develop strategic frameworks and best practices for the implementation of engineering solutions for sustainable development. The celebration of World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development is also about promoting engineering as a career and how it has an opportunity to change the world for better. There is a great deal to be done specifically to achieve the sustainable development goals in developing countries to ensure that everyone has access to clean water, sanitation, reliable energy, and other basic human needs. In all countries, there is also a great deal to be done to deal with the impacts of climate change, environmental issues, our growing cities, and the challenges of new technologies, including artificial intelligence. There are many opportunities, and the day can be used to engage the young people and say, if you want to change the world for better, and become an engineer. So for doing this today, amidst us, we have the young minds from the IIIT Tiruchirappalli, the students of IIIT Tiruchirappalli. Thank you, students, for participating in this event. And I once again welcome you all to the fold of Institution of Engineers Tiruchirappalli Local Center. The theme of this year, as decided by UNESCO, is Engineering for a Healthy Planet, celebrating UNESCO Engineering Report. Amidst us, we have Dr. Sudarshan to deliver the theme address. And thank you, sir, for accepting our request to deliver the theme address. To give that brief information about the IIIT Tiruchirappalli to the fellow engineers of Institution of Engineers Tiruchirappalli Local Center, let me give. And the Indian Institute of Information Technology Tiruchirappalli, in short, it is IIIT Tiruchirappalli, IIIT, is an institute of national importance and one among the 21 IIITs proposed under the non-profit public-private partnership model by MHRD. So if you see that the focus is to address the challenges faced by the Indian IT industry and those of the domestic IT market, the Ministry of HRD, that is now MOE, Government of India has established IIIT on a not-for-profit PPP basis like 21 other NITs. So now the construction of IIIT Tiruchirappalli is underway, and it is located in Sedurapatti, and most probably in the next year they will have the permanent campus. So thanks to the present director, he is taking a lot of interest in bringing that institute in a shape. So they will get the permanent campus also on behalf of Institution of Engineers Tiruchirappalli Local Center, and also the former Dean of IIIT Tiruchirappalli. I wish that the building will soon, the permanent campus for the IIIT Tiruchirappalli students, they will get the permanent campus. So with these few words, now may I request Dr. Sita Raman to introduce the speaker to the gathering. Dr. Sita Raman.
Yes, sir.
Associate Professor from IIIT Tiruchirappalli from the Department of ECE. Over to Dr. Sita Raman.
Thank you, sir. The respected chief guest and members of Institution of Engineers, Tiruchirappalli Center, and participants, good evening to all. First of all, I would like to thank the Chairman, Institution of Engineers, Tiruchirappalli Local Center, for giving an opportunity in collaboration with our Institute IIIT Trichy for arranging this World Engineers Day today. So first, I am happy to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, Executive Director, Center for Development of Advanced Computing, CDAC, Bengaluru. Dr. Sidhu D. Sudarshan heads the Center for Development of Advanced Computing, Bengaluru. Prior to joining CDAC, Dr. Sudarshan was with ABB, Bengaluru, with the focus on industrial software systems, heritage engineering migration, analytics and cyber security for about 8 years. He has nearly 3 decades of research and development experience with leading national research and development agencies in India and US. His area of specializations include information assurance, network security, cyber physical systems, sensor networks, safety critical systems, semantic mining, and analytics. He is a recipient of several research grants in the area of information security. He has participated in several standards committees at international and national levels. Before joining ABB in 2012, Dr. Sudarshan was with US Food and Drug Administration as a visiting scientist, leading their semantic data mining research and development program, and received FDA Outstanding Service Award for his contribution in the year 2012. Dr. Sudarshan has a PhD in Applied Computing from the USA and awarded Outstanding PhD Graduate Award. He has over 100 publications, presentations, and 10 filed patents to his credit. Prior to joining FDA, he was with various government organizations, CRL, Bell, and CEDT and ERDCA. Thank you, sir, for accepting today's lecture for World Engineering Day 2021. Please, sir.
So, namaste. Good evening to all of you. It's indeed a pleasure that Institution of Engineers, Trichy, along with IIIT Trichy, are celebrating this momentous occasion. What a good time that we are meeting today. As we see, with vaccines in place, Now we are in a AC situation after COVID, or we are able to manage that in a nice way. So the mood is vibrant, and let me first thank Dr. Sitaraman for reaching out and giving me this opportunity to meet all of you. And thank you, Chairman Dr. Kumaresan, and past Chairman who also warmly welcomed, and Director IIIT Trichy, and all the participants, including the budding engineers from IIIT Trichy. And then it's indeed wonderful. So the theme itself is can be thought of sustainable as one keyword, engineering as another word, and world as another word. So if you just look at it, I think it already gives a semblance of complexity that is involved in the topic itself. But as engineers, it is our job to reduce the complexity to something that is manageable, that is sustainable, that is resilient, and should be made in a nice, modular, interconnected way. So one way to look at engineering as a term is just arranging things in an order. That itself can be thought of like that. At the same time, the way we look at engineering, most of the time, this event is, I also see a lot of people from BHEL. So BHEL as a core engineering company, so they understand what engineering is. Probably most of us who have a degree in engineering in various disciplines, could be civil, mechanical, electrical, instrumentation, computer science, data science, you name anything. But they are all a small branch, a small part of the entire engineering. And those who have actually seen the field from core industries, for them engineering is much more than just studying a set of subjects and coming with certain designs or certain tools or certain items that can be produced. Absolutely not true. Perhaps to understand engineering as engineering itself requires probably a decade-long hands-on experience in the field. Half the time it is not about the technology, but it is about the engineering of the technology, which is arranging things in a way that makes the whole system work seamlessly. And in this current century, we are looking at few things which are beyond what we are looking a little before. Of late, if you look at the recent past history in the last few decades, there was a time miniaturization became the key. So the smaller the real estate we occupy and the lower the power we consume, we disturb the environment lesser. So that was thought of one key aspect. Then it was realized that just miniaturization alone does not help. And we learned very fast, which resulted in we looking at, is it recyclable? Is it eco-friendly? Is it environmental friendly? So the degradability or ability to reuse and recycle, that was understood very quickly. It is very quickly in terms of evolution of the universe and the world, or even the evolution of human. It is very, very minuscule in terms of number of years. However, for a normal human life, which is a few decades, maybe around 100, that is what we look at in terms of a lifespan. Today, the average lifespan is around 80. So from that perspective, the damage that has been done for the current generation or the current, the millennium babies and things like that, it has been enormous. So the learning curve has a ripple effect of polluting or disturbing the sustainable world, which once upon a time looked very, very simple when in elementary school or maybe in the middle school, we learned about simple, for example, water cycle. If you just look at the water cycle that we studied in elementary school, it was simple, there is ocean, the sun heats it up, water evaporates, it becomes cloud, moves across, it comes back as a rain, and then either in upper reaches it becomes a snowfall and becomes a glacier, and other places it is just a seasonal rainfall, and then it melts and gets accumulated, runs as river, and then it comes back to ocean. So the entire process was done in a very, very sustainable manner without damaging the equilibrium in the world. The engineering was marvelous, nature at its best. But if you look at today, same process if human tries to do, take water, just distill it and to create a potable water using whatever technology we have today, we are finding lots of challenges. The amount of side effect that creates just to recycle the water to make it potable is absolutely mind-boggling in terms of the negative impact it has on the environment. So in some sense, today is the day for engineers to learn from nature how to do things in a very, very sustainable and systematic manner. And when things go out of control, create once in a millennium, once in a decade kind of event to reset whatever disturbance that got created, so that the balance is restored. So if you look at the ecosystem for water, it looks very straight. But we humans are not just about water. So if you go one step higher, then we are looking at the carnivorous, herbivorous, that kind of scavengers, that life cycle. So the way the entire thing, life system evolves. So we call it a food chain, as we studied. Again, if you look at it, it is bioengineering at its best by nature. Some people call it genetics, some people call it various kind of evolutions and things like that. However, that system is also completely environmental friendly and sustainable through balancing acts of predator balance with the victims. Okay, the prey predator equilibrium is continuously maintained. And the way the natural choice of be it pollination or be it reproduction cycle, choice of mates for reproduction, they are all so nicely engineered by the nature that the fittest and the most adaptive survives while the rest get eliminated. Now, when it comes to humans, are we able to replicate those levels of balancing mechanism and sustainability? I think we are still in very, very early stages. The industry that we have today, how sustainable, how eco-friendly, how balanced if you really look at it, it's a big question mark. Lot of efforts are being made. The intentions are definitely best. For example, everybody understood the effect of pollution if you look at, for example, coal-based power generation and the negative impact of fossil fuel at an alarming rate, the way it is consumed. Can we sustain? Those are the things that are understood. So we have renewables today. But as the renewables have come, they have also come at a cost. For example, we have excellent solar-based power generation systems today that are in place, starting from less than a kilowatt all the way to mega plant, multi-megawatt solar systems are in place. Yet there is a underlying timeline given to us as humans. We know these solar panels, after their useful time, they are extremely difficult to recycle at this point. So while we have made the energy generation green, the side effects of expired solar panels, for example, how do we dispose them? It's a challenge that is in front of us. And this is interdisciplinary and it cuts across, not any one thing. Because if you look at the solar panel, there is a material science aspect of it. There is a mechanical aspect of it. Then there is a chemical aspect of it, the composition of the molecules. Then how do we degrade them nicely? That means it has to be biodegradable. So how do we take care of that aspect? Those are challenges that are in front of us. Those kind of challenges, if we start looking at it, the budding engineers of today, we do a couple of things. First of all, we are looking at a sustainable world and contribute as engineers with pride. This is quite different from a typical engineer aspirations that we see in most cases. Either one become employed in a so-called IT industry, or few of them get into core industry. And then we are having this challenge of some people starting boldly new companies. The VC, venture capitalist, and the startup culture that is picking us, is allowing us to experiment. It is actually a very welcome sign in that aspect. So from being purely going for campus placement, in the last decade, we have seen this shift change in our own engineers trying to do something on their own. As engineers, we are always taught from concept to realization, proof of concept, piloting, all the entire stage if you take. The cost of failure increases exponentially as we move to the right of where it is produced and sold and it reaches the market. The cost of failure is very low if it happens to the left side. So there is a concept of shift left, which means fail early and fail often, so that various failure modes are understood early in the life where the damages are the lowest. And then when we develop the complete system, it is foolproof. So the startup culture is allowing us to do it. Experiment when we are young. when the stakes are low, not the stakes are high. So when the stakes are low, we can take a larger risk. As we all know, R&D is all about risk and development. So the ability to take risk is much better, higher when we are young. There is energy, there is enthusiasm, and there is time to catch up. In case something doesn't go well, I can start all over again because the age is on our side. So the good part has already started. I am firmly believing that the current generation of startup kind of engineers or entrepreneurs, those kind of budding engineers are there, and we are pretty sure of sustainable engineering in place to make the world a better and more peaceful place to live. Just I would like to bring one very small startup case which I am aware of. I will not name the company or the startup so that it doesn't become a marketing. So this is an Indian startup, so that one can be proud of. What they did is something fantastic. As we all know, today most of the problems that we have or the diseases or the health, it is related to psychosomatic diseases. That means our thinking process or psychological effects that get converted into physical side effects, physiological effects, somatic. So psycho means mind-related thinking, affecting our somatic body mechanisms and physiological activities, resulting in illness or inappropriate conditions of our body behavior. One thing, unlike the allopathic medicine, which is a symptomatic instant cure with typically side effects in the long term, many of our Indian system, Ayush as we call them, they talk about balance of the body in terms of various properties. You can call it Pitta, Vata, Kapha or Panchabhuta, whatever it is, or body-mind balance as they call it, depending on which scheme you are looking at it. But in the end, a balanced diet with a balanced way of living will reduce our will reduce our inability to attacks both bacterial, viral, and all those things. So our immunity can be naturally built in. So it is well known that meditation helps. And when we try to meditate, it is extremely difficult to meditate beyond few seconds. Our mind keeps on moving around, extremely difficult to control. So what they had is a very excellent gadget. Think about it, a typical engineer may not even bother. But today there is a very strong interdisciplinary domain for engineers coming. That is what they call, HCI or BRI, Brain Research Institute, Human Computer Interaction, those kind of things are in place. So what they did is they had a simple electrode which can sense certain signals from our nervous activities. So a small band was given around the head. So they are sensing from 2-3 points. And depending on certain electrical characteristics, they figured out, is your mind calm or is it disturbed? Or you are thinking something beyond. So based on the vibrations of the mind or thinking process of the mind. So that is something they did. So what they do is, for example, many times Omkara is used for meditation. For that matter, you can think of anything, you can focus. But if focus is better, even looking at a light or a pointed object, the more the focus, the less disturbed the mind is. So the electrodes will sense if the disturbance is minimum. Okay, then it produces a sound which is soft and very, very long, like like that. If you are using Omkara, but you can use anything that you like. At the same time, if the mind is disturbed, it is not controlled. We are thinking so many things. What is going to happen to the COVID? What is going to happen to the election? What is happening to the, the weather, climate, all those things. Then mind gets disturbed and it picks up those signals and then it spits up, home, like that. So what it does is it brings you back by disturbing you. You are getting diverted, come back. So that is something which can allow us to have a steady and peaceful mind. An undisturbed mind can take better decisions, can come up with a better design. So for engineers, this is also coming from engineers who are just out of the college. It was fantastic to see such developments. This is one case. And if you look at from real engineering perspective, the way we today dispose our waste, for example, now there are norms that are ensuring that the wet paste has to be converted into compost and should be given to nature again and fed for our crops as manure or mulch, as compost, vermicompost, compost, all those things. And similarly, the immunity, instead of putting pesticide, which in fact impacts humans because the residues get consumed by us when we consume those items, whether it is a plant item or whether it is a animal product. If they are treated to chemicals and pesticides, they do reach us, the residues, and humans do get impacted. Environment also gets imbalanced. Now, it has been proven from what we have, for example, just like Ayurveda is there for humans, there is one Vriksha Ayurveda that is available in ancient text. And when we experiment with that, I recently read an article that was fantastic. There is one Dr. Lakshmi Tatachar. Banana, something we all love. People have it anytime, every time. These banana plants are affected by several issues. One of them is called the Panama wilt, where the leaves start drying out and the tree dies. And typically, it is a washout. There is no recovery. And what he experimented was different. He read this Vriksha Ayurveda and came up with his own suggestion. Then he added, you all know green camphor, Pachakapuram as they call it in Tamil Nadu. So the green camphor, along with turmeric, and he mixed in water, and he injected them directly into the stems of banana plants. 80% of the plants recovered and they yielded, and he has actually published an article. So that kind of immunity building and recovery, it is not just immunity, it is about being resilient to an attack where it is assumed to be a washout, is an example of how engineers can apply their mind, use already documented, well-known natural way of building immunity, which does not negatively impact the environment, to make the entire thing sustainable. So this is what he has published, and it is there available. So when we are looking at sustainable world, we also have to look at Atmanirbhar Bharat, or being self-sufficient as a country. That happens once we start looking at what knowledge we already have. That is why we call it research. There is nothing new under the sun, there is a saying. So there is enough material available, just that we have to go back and dig out what is relevant instead of looking at the West or other things. We have to be confident. We look into our own science that is already known. One should apply in their mind, and the learnings all we had, both in terms of science as well as techniques and technologies that we have learned, and the mathematical model that we have done. So apply all those knowledge that we gain as engineers to come up with solution that is sustainable as well as green and resilient. Because some are sustainable but may not be green, because they will never get destroyed. So sustainable alone does not mean anything. We want something sustainable that will support life, that will support humanity and the world to remain in good shape for the time to come, for the future generations. That is what we are looking at it when you are looking at this particular aspect of sustainable engineering. So the engineering is not about just assembling circuits or writing a piece of code or generating tools for automation or constructing some structures. No, they are all means to achieve an end. The end should result in the means that are used in such a way that they are allowing us to sustain the world, be resilient and be healthy and be positive. That is what we are looking at it. Another example that we can quickly think of before I say thank you for all of you. One good example is, for example, earlier we used to have the concept of producing in bulk, economic of scale for reducing the cost. If you look at it, we had a bulk generation of electricity. Similarly, we produced things in bulk in millions and trillions to reduce the cost of production, be it electrical energy or be it materials. We have low cost item dumped from China by being produced in mass production. What it does is, first of all, it reduces diversity, because we have identical product produced in millions and trillions, and all of them suffer from the same strength as well as weaknesses. The moment one weakness can be exploited, the entire production or entire circuitry becomes vulnerable. Whereas if you really look at the nature before the current technological evolutions, we had a local variant of everything. If you just taste sambar across South India, every 5 kilometers you will find a different taste. Probably every house has a different type of rasam, and each house can make 20 different types of rasam in Tamil Nadu, for that matter, anywhere in South India. So that diversity is what keeps us resilient, make everything unique, make us sustainable in the long run. So that, as a system of systems, while individual subsystems may fail, but the entire system keeps running well-oiled a long way. Our human body is also like that. As we continuously lose our cells keep dying, but new cells keep generating, but there is a continuum. And our body, for whatever life we are on earth, it is able to sustain in spite of so many cells dying every second. The engineering also should be like that. It should be locally produced, locally sustained, locally recycled. That is what we should look at it. So that is the reason, if you look at the electrical energy, we are looking at distributed energy. So which means you locally produce, locally consume. What is the benefit? It is tuned to local requirements. The cost of storage comes down, cost of transmission comes down, but yet we need that kind of grid to connect each other, so that in case of a calamity, they act as a backup. So there is a backup for emergency, but independently on a day-to-day life, we don't depend on something that comes from outside. We have to locally do it. Friends, as we go forward, something that are emerging, I just want to highlight one or two trends. One trend that is going to come up is micro factories. Micro factories means you automate production but for very, very small quantities, not for extremely large quantities. Which means they will consume very less energy, and they will be consumed, produced and consumed locally. For example, today we get instruments that can extract oil in a cold pressed manner. Cold pressed oil, which can generate, hardly 1 liter at a time, rather than the traditional refined oil, which is done in, thousands of liters at a time. We all know cold pressed oil is much more healthier. It retains many of the antioxidants and things like that. In fact, people spend a lot of money buying, cold pressed oil that comes from abroad, because the branding is so awesome. Olive oil, for example, virgin cold pressed olive oil. We have been doing something similar with all our groundnut, sesame, and neem. So many things we have been doing. Now we have automation opportunities because the population has gone up. So we have micro factories that are coming up to produce lesser quantities, which are suited for local taste and variety. We are looking at 3D printing rather than a production line, which means you design, and in fact we can have n number of variants produced. Each printout can be little different, so it can be unique. 3D printing is coming. It is already in place. And then the vast network connectivity is used as a resilient thing in case of emergency. But otherwise, every system should sustain locally. The more you are sustainable locally, global sustenance will be automatic. Almost like what Swami Vivekananda said, don't ever think of self, at least think of your house. If you cannot think of your street, if not, if you cannot think of your village, if you cannot think of your country, of the humanity. So if you scale down, other than being selfish, at least if you can cover, as I said, micro factory, the society that is right next to you, or the people who are right next to you, if you all live together and we do things in a way that is locally consumed, locally produced, the effect will not be negative. It will be net positive, and we will be able to have a excellent environment to live in. That is definitely something doable, and all we engineers are capable of doing that. And absolutely, I have no doubt that the young minds who are part of this current generation, they are excellent. Just as maybe passing remark before I close, this COVID, for example, has created a scene in cities like big towns, Bangalore. The latest joke that is going around is, because of COVID and everything, house arrested and locked and things like that. Suddenly, two people went for the terrace. They met each other. Then they realized that for 10 years they were neighbors, but they were never said hi to each other. That is the kind of life we are living. So we are connected digitally to so many across the globe. When the person next door who can help us in emergency with a shout out is always available. And the moment we take care of our neighborhood, everyone takes care of their own neighborhood in terms of sustainability from an engineering perspective, as a humanitarian perspective. I think we will not only have a sustainable world, but we will also have an excellent society which cares for each other. I think, like seeing is believing. If you meet people, positive vibrations connect with each other and life can go on. So with that, I would like to thank Institution of Engineers and IIIT Trichy for inviting me for this. And I thought on this engineering day, I don't want to take a specific engineering side, but talk generally about engineering as a whole, human engineering, usability engineering, environmental engineering, those stuff which we normally are not hearing about or ignoring in our curriculum. That is what I want to touch through few examples. I hope I have done some justice, and thank you for your time. And it's wonderful. And because there are IIIT engineers, I want to just leave one message that CDAC Bangalore will be able to offer supercomputing facilities. Anybody wants to do a modeling, simulation, digital twin kind of thing, or any data analytics kind of work, we are available to collaborate and offer our services to you. So with that message, thank you very much for this opportunity. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful thought on the topic. So it's again good news to the students of IIIT Tiruchirappalli also. Maybe through Dr. Sitaraman, they may approach you for internship or utilizing the facility in the CDAC. So now any of our members would like to give the facilitation or clarification from the speakers, you can unmute and ask.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Please proceed.
Good evening, Mr. Sudarshan. I am Dharmalingam from BHEL. Earlier, I was in BHEL. I have 2 points. One is with respect to the solar panels, whatever you mentioned. After about 25 years or so, the solar panel has to be scrapped. Fortunately, today, there is a recycling process, and because of the upcoming market for the electrical vehicles, whatever material that is being recycled from the solar panels are going to be used extensively for the electrical vehicles. That is what I find from the materials with respect to solar panels. People say that is a blessing in disguise. The second point is whatever you have mentioned with respect to the banana tree, wherein when the leaves are getting dried up, using the Vriksha Ayurveda, if you are injecting the solution, it is getting revived. That is what I was mentioning. Often I find neem trees that is located on both the sides of the highways, probably once in 10 trees, one in 10 trees, it is getting dried. The leaves are getting dried. Do you have any idea whether the same technique can be used for these neem trees also?
Sir, thank you very much for asking. First of all, listening, attentively for the entire thing. Dharmalingam sir, thank you so much. And definitely, the recycling of it, being from BHEL and all, you are on top of the technology. You are better equipped than me to answer that. But it is a general concern people have. So from a student perspective, I think solar panel was the easiest to tell. We also have challenges with blades that are windmills that are getting into trouble and all. So overall recycling is an issue that is a challenge, could be taken up with a good startup. Any recycling is today welcome. That can be converted to useful things. From that perspective, I mentioned. But definitely, yes, sir, EV and the electric vehicle is becoming another major thing as a humanity. But definitely, that is one area it can be used. Similar to what the person, professor, Tyagaraja Engineering College professor has done about recycling material for laying roads and constructing houses. So we do have examples, but they are very few and they are far from each other. They are not in bulk. It is not a day-to-day activity. So I thought I raised it. But thank you very much, sir. It will be heartening for the student also to feel positive. Yes, already some solution is inside. Regarding the second one, the Panama wilt is very specific to banana trees. Okay, and neem tree has a hard stem, so injecting is a little different. And we also have to see why the leaves are wilting. Because is it a viral attack or is it because of the gases that are emitted on the highways? The poisonous gases that are making the neem leaves brown and they are wilting. So that is a little bit to be studied, because half the time we need to look at what is the soil property, what is the environmental property, and is it an attack from outside or inside? These are the things we have to look at it. And Vriksha Ayurveda actually gives option, just like human body has Vata, Pitta, Kapha. They also categorize plants into Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and they also convert plants into they call it Viryam, Ushna Viryam, Sitala Viryam, and things like that. To say that we always Sudada, Idu Sapta, Kulirchi, like that. So it is actually also mentioned that which plant is which category it belongs to. So we need to do a little bit of study of where it is wilting. Is it a soil issue? Is it an environmental issue? Or it is an attack? That has to be seen. Then Vriksha Ayurveda gives a kind of a, this is the generic kind of issues. These are the kind of solutions you should adopt. That is mentioned, sir. So a little bit of actual analytics is physical experimentation is required, but definitely solutions are available. And you can actually refer to each other yourself because that is a known document available. Otherwise, Dr. Lakshmi Tatachar, he lives near Mysore, 80+-year-old Rashtrapati awardee. So we can actually check with him. These are the examples. This is what we found. What do you think can be done? Definitely, I can connect also, sir. Absolutely no problem. It will be my pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Sudarshan. Thank you.
So any other clarification? Thank you, sir. If no more clarifications, thank you for your thought on sustainable development on the celebration of World Engineering Day 2021. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for your time and sharing your experience and thoughts with Institution of Engineers as well as IIIT Tiruchirappalli students and faculty members. So now may I call upon Engineer Selvaraj to propose vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. Happy good evening to everyone. Really, it's a wonderful day. We had our chief guest, Dr. S. Sudarshan. Really, the talk was wonderful. We enjoyed your talk, sir. Thank you for sparing our rich knowledge and sharing your valuable time with us. That's what. Really very happy. And I want to mention here, we are for our Institute of Engineering Tiruchirappalli chapter, for past 3 decades, we are every Tuesday we are conducting program for our members and others. It is we are inviting everyone. This is for information, sir. This is after the COVID. This is the 53rd program. Today we are conducting with you. Your program is 53rd program. That's what.
Oh, excellent, sir.
Yes,
So,
yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us today. I am very glad to propose vote of thanks. First of all, I thank Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, Executive Director, Center for Development of Advanced Computing, CDAC, Bangalore, for sharing his rich knowledge and sparing his valuable time with us. Really, we are very much thankful to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for touching all aspects of human engineering. Really, you touched on many points, sir. And thank you, sir, for delivering an excellent talk on about sustainable development. I thank our Dr. Kumaresan, Chairman, gave the presidential address and briefed about the World Engineering Day importance for achieving the sustainable development goals. I thank Dr. Sita Raman, the Associate Professor at IIIT Tiruchirappalli, for introducing the speaker to the audience. I thank the Director, Professors, Faculties, students of IIIT for participating in today's program and joining with the program, and also the members of the Institution of Engineers. I especially thank our first chairman, Samida sir, another past chairman, Dr. Kumar sir, and Dr. S. Dharmalingam, and Joint Secretary and Dr. N. Sivakumaran, and IE committee members and all members. I thank all the invitees for today's World Engineering Day function. I thank one and all who participate in today's webinar about World Engineering Day for sustainable meeting the sustainable goals. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to everyone. So special thanks to IIIT Tiruchirappalli for associating with the Institution of Engineers Tiruchirappalli Local Center. So thank you one and all. Now we can close the meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.